Well, this Sunday night on 7/2, we see the launch of Under the Cover, a fly-on-the-wall look at what it takes to make Australia's #1 fashion magazine. Here's a quick look.
I'm so lucky that I can say that I love what I do. I'm passionate about it. It excites me. It challenges me.
Is there a 20% chance this could go horribly wrong?
Fashion, it's so incredibly exhilarating when it's fantastic.
We really put an emphasis on shooting beautiful fashion.
Zena, what's the deadline for July?
We work hard. All of this basically has to go to the printer in 3 working days.
Man, I broke out into a sweat.
Lots of things go wrong.
It looks like I will be so pissed off.
You said I wouldn't get stressed out. I do get stressed out.
She's been hospitalised. What?
That is Under the Cover. So will there be any Devil Wears Prada moments? Jackie Frank is Marie Claire's editor and the focus of Under the Cover, and she joins us now. Jackie, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Any Anna Wintour moments for you there? Are we going to see you in a new light?
You might see me in a new light, but you're not going to see me like Anna Wintour. There's only one Anna Wintour, and it's certainly not me.
Where did the idea for the show come from? I think there was something similar in the US about the magazine. Is it based on that at all, or was this pushing this idea to get yourself on screen?
No. The one in the US was about interns. They had 3 interns and who could get a job at Marie Claire. And this is just something that's sort of been sitting there for a while. And in fact, it was workshopped through the SMG group, really. And they came and we sat down and we talked about it. And next thing you know, here we are.
You're not really a stranger to television, but was there anything in there that surprised you, actually being the focus of making a whole show as opposed to, you know, what you normally do, which is giving some commentary?
I'm not really the focus. The teaser, I was the focus, but it's about the whole magazine, and it's about also a lot of my staff, because I've got a whole bunch of characters in there, really creative types. And it's very different to appearing on, say, Sunrise for 4 minutes or Make Me a Supermodel when they come into your office, because it changes the dynamic with you and everybody else. And when everyone else is reacting differently to you, you react differently. So in the beginning, I was a bit of a performing monkey because no one came near me. It was sort of cameras, and I'm sitting like, you know, Lonely Susan in my office, no one. And I was like, what's going on? Because normally I've got tons of people and it's a whole, you know, open door policy. But because the cameras were there, it took them a while to kind of relax. And once they did, I did.
So is what we're going to see, is it really quite fly on the wall? There's nothing staged now?
There's no faux drama. No, seriously, there doesn't need to be. That's the problem. Yeah. No, because it's done by the factual department at 7, so, you know, border security, things like that. So we kind of swapped the drugs for Manolos. But it's, yeah, so it's really, really documentary style. There's nothing that's been created specially for it.
Did all the staff handle it well? I mean, working with you, I guess they're up for anything, but I mean, did they...
Hey, now. Look, some of the staff embraced it earlier. Yeah,
times, or?
I think that, you know, they still at the moment they feel that it's like, but you know, obviously different personalities handled it differently.
So how's Marie Claire going at the moment in terms, you know, you're always known as sort of the #1. Are you still there? Any big challenges for you?
Oh, look, it's a challenging market at the moment. We all know that. We know that retail, you know, is quite soft. So, but we are out there as #1. We're kind of ahead of the pack. We're swimming against the market in terms of making budgets and things like that. So, but it's hard work. It's a lot of hard work. It's head down, bum up.
Do you see that a reflection in actual, not so much advertising, but in actual sales to consumers of the magazine, that when the retail sector itself comes under the pump, that so do magazine sales?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, we're a luxury and people are very discerning with their money, so they want to see value for money. And I think it, you know, it sorts out the good from the not so good, really.
This is a great branding exercise for you, I guess, and Marie Claire, the magazine, the sort of luxury feel and environment, it's a great sort of advertisement for the magazine format. Do you feel any pressure at all to get into that digital delivery game? We've just been talking to the Australian about it, and like apps or, you know, enhanced web offerings.
Well, the whole thing about the digital era is you've just got to embrace it. I look at Marie Claire as a brand, and any other touch point, whether it's digital, whether it's paper, whether it's television, television, whatever it might be, is another touch point to the consumer. So I have this analogy, and I've had it for years, about my octopus. The head of the octopus is the magazine, and all the other tentacles, which could include digital, apps, licensed products, you name it, is another way to engage the consumer. If they're engaging with Marie Claire the brand, it all helps each other.
And do all your staff get involved in things like social media to keep driving that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, with the TV show, for example, first thing we did was we sent out a viral campaign through Twitter, through Facebook. You've got to use everything that's accessible to you. And I think anyone who doesn't is going to be left behind. But that does not negate the main product and the main game, which is the magazine.
Your competitive set these days must include a lot of online. There's fashion bloggers and all this sort of stuff, which never existed when you started. I mean, is that nearly as important as your other print competitors these days?
I think everything's important because everyone's, you know, taking a slice of that pie, especially on the advertising side of things.
So we're seeing more ad dollars go to those online places?
Well, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying everyone's competing for the same.
So they're all trying to chase your
absolutely,
success.
Absolutely. And interestingly enough, you know, a couple of years ago, when American Marie Claire changed their editor, and she and I sat down to talk, and she said to me, you know, my competitors are, and she started mentioning all those kinds of things, and America was much faster and obviously much harder hit. But, you know, that's why I think you've got to look at the market holistically, and you've got to approach the market holistically, and that's where this TV show comes in really well, because, you know, there are, say, a couple of advertisers who came on board and did a deal with television, online, and the magazine. So, you know, you've just got to package it up.
Some of those, what sort of people?
Chanel did, Lavazza did, you know, Schwarzkopf is the main game here, you know, so it's really interesting. It's really, you've just got to think holistically rather than just siloed.
And what about sort of a bigger market? I know Marie Claire has quite a lot of, you know, of lifestyle, of homeware type stuff as well, apart from just fashion. How important is that in terms of building your brand, but also attracting more revenue and sort of broadening the pie, if that's the right terminology?
Well, Marie Claire's always, you know, the two major pillars obviously were fashion and features, and lifestyle is a really important part, as is wellness. Sort of, so the pillars have kind of expanded, and it's all important because, you know, women, we're multifaceted and we have interests in all sorts of areas, and it's about resonating to the consumer and connecting with that consumer. And when you connect with the consumer, the advertisers want to be part of it. So it's kind of, you know, they get the halo effect.
It's a strong brand internationally. Is that one of the things, you all feed off each other? Does that still happen?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We're a very strong community as such. Like, I don't think there's other brands, I won't mention the name. You can't imagine all the editors sitting in a room together, feet up, you know, having a good old laugh and sharing information. We do that. They encourage that every 2 years. I think because I've been there for so long, they kind of, you know, people come and talk to me, especially when they start, and we exchange ideas and things like that. So yeah, and as well, when times are tough, globally, international brands have that leg up, I think, because, you know, a lot of our money comes from cosmetics, which are all, basically international, and they do international deals.
All right, Jackie, Frank, we thank you. Look forward to seeing the program. Sounds like fun. Thanks, Jackie. All right, let's have a look at the ratings for free-to-wear. We'll kick off with for week 23. Australia's Got Talent in the top spot this week, followed by Downton Abbey in second and 9 News Sunday in third. MasterChef on Wednesday and Monday coming in 4th and 5th position. 7 News Sunday in at 6th, followed by MasterChef at 7th, 8th and 9th. The Big Bang Theory rounding out this week's top 10. James, Downton Abbey, I guess we should talk about that first, because that's sort of come from nowhere and is a big surprise ratings hit.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Just over the last couple of weeks we've been talking about how you've really got to have Australian content be up there, but if you pick on the right international series, and who would have thought this sort of English period drama would be the one that's just, you know, taken off and doing fantastic. Week 2 figures are up on week 1, so it looks like it'll be a big hit.
I mean, it is kind of surprising in the midst of all the other popular programs that we've seen that we have an English period drama. This is just not something that would normally rate. What is it about the series, and was there special marketing that I'm not aware of? Or?
Well, yeah, there was. I mean, Channel 7 did a great job of sort of branding it to a younger audience than would traditionally watch this show. They did everything from having, I think, NRL and AFL footballers recommending people watch it because it's a good show. They had sort of rock music soundtrack clips to these classic, you know, images of people in, you know, beautiful English gardens in period costume, but you know, sort of semi rock.
It looks like the sort of thing you'd have on the ABC or something,
yeah. Well,
and then suddenly there's...
You know, the ABC programs will say, well, it's not that big a surprise. We've had good audiences for this stuff whenever we show it. So 7 have been able to get that audience, but then cross it over to younger viewers as well.
So, and MasterChef, I mean, across the board, still doing pretty well.
Yeah, so you notice that 10 are clever to code each day's program separately, so you don't get a week's average. You get all those shows popping up in the top 10.
I think as well the Nigella spot did particularly well. We'll have those numbers will obviously come into the ratings when we talk next week. Let's go to subscription television, starting with sport. Top 5 programs first. NRL Bulldogs, I can't speak today, v the Sea Eagles in at number 1. Titans v Panthers coming in second, followed by Panthers v Rabbitohs, and the Storm versus the Sharks. In AFL, Western Bulldogs versus the Hawthorn match was in at 5th position. Non-sport now, Beanie's Restoration Nightmare was first, Project Runway second, followed by The Simpsons and Relocation, Phil Down Under, and the movie Heartbreak Ridge on Fox Classics rounding out the top 5 this week. James, let's talk about next week, what's on the show. We're going to have...
We might have a bit of news about some sort of breaking news today, almost about readership measurement of newspapers. There was that stoush between the sort of Roy Morgan research and the newspapers wanted to break away and start up their own sort of measurement system called Readership Works. Fairfax weren't a part of that, but the news is today it looks like they will be in turn, so they've decided to put in their lot with Readership Works because Greg Highwood moved across as chairman earlier this year. So we'll
full analysis
look at
of that next week. We'll see you then.
Thanks, Kylie.
That's all we have time for. Thanks for your company.